Hello there. If you've been following my Learn to Play Fiddle beginner series, you'll probably appreciate that I play the whole lot on this cheap £30 violin. I do that on purpose because I think it's important to be on the same sort of footing, as it were, as anyone who's learning to play a violin on a cheap fiddle, basically. So I thought, well, what better to do than actually use the same sort of instrument. And this instrument came from eBay, of course, and I've made a complete video describing how I purchased the instrument and then set it up to a reasonable condition. So the purpose behind today's video really is just to give you anybody who's perhaps just learning the fiddle a few pointers as to what else you can do apart from learning the fiddle, which sounds crazy. No, and I don't mean go and do the washing up or get dragged into filling up the dishwasher or the washing machine or something like that. Oh no. Now I'll first of all play a tune. I'll shut up, play a tune, and then chat a little bit more about what else I think you can be seriously thinking about. Okay, this tune is called Whiskey Before Breakfast, which sounds like quite a good idea, really. I haven't actually tried that, but I might try it sometime. Anyway, I do like a drop of whiskey, but there we go. So, Whiskey Before Breakfast. What a great tune that is. A very lively tune, of course. Now, the reason I played that tune was quite simple, really, because in addition to learning to play the violin, I want to tempt you away into the dark areas of this instrument. The mandolin. Now, the reason I say this is because that instrument, the violin, costs £30. These mandolins, I've just been on eBay, there are loads of them, brand new, under £50, which is ridiculous because they're incredibly beautifully made. And I've had this one. This is a Collins one, but it's a generic one. I think whatever you buy, you're going to get roughly the same sort of instrument. But I've had this one about 10 years now, and I paid £70, so I obviously paid a little bit too much, because in fact they're now going for less than £50. But the reason why I'm suggesting these as a nice alternative instrument, once you can figure out the winding for the strap, the reason that they're quite a good alternative instrument is because they are tuned exactly the same as a fiddle. G, D, A, E. Now, the thing is that you can play, whatever you play on this, you can play on the violin. So if you are learning a tune, say, and you found that it was difficult to get the intonation, which is a fancy word for getting the your fingers in the right place to play the right kind of note. In other words, you don't play flat or sharp, you play the exact note. If you're having any difficulty getting the intonation correct, this is a very useful instrument, because of course there are frets, which is very useful. And of course, exactly the same tuning, exactly the same notes, exactly the same tune that I just played on the fiddle. So I'm thinking, oh, I always have this problem every time I'm making a video. Anyway, somebody else will pick it up in a moment. But in fact, I stopped. This is an ideal alternative instrument to play at the same time. And quite frankly, if that's £30, this, say, is 50, it's less than £100. Now, I don't know what that would be in American dollars or Canadian dollars or Australian dollars, is it? Anyway, but I wouldn't think it was a great deal of money. It gets you set up with two nice instruments. Now, the other thing, of course, is if you do a little bit of recording like I do, you can use this as a great backup instrument. Oh gosh. I blame that mistake on the cheap instrument. It's as simple as that. It can't honestly be my playing. Now, I play this on loads of my videos. You may hear the mandolin kicking in. Often I bring it in about the third time through a tune. Because this has got a pickup, this particular one. And I think it's a wound pickup. In other words, if you know anything about electric guitars, the pickups on an electric guitar are a series of little magnets, and they have a coil wrapped around them of wire. And as you play a string, it sort of vibrates over the magnet, which creates a small electrical voltage current, and that's amplified. Well, I think it's the same with this. I think it's a wound pickup, and it works pretty well. But you can get away quite happily with an acoustic mandolin without a pickup. But it's an alternative instrument, and it means it gives you some other way of referring to tunes and playing tunes at the same time. Whilst you're learning tunes, it gives you another instrument to pick up, because sometimes it's not always a good thing to be playing the same instrument for 2 or 3 hours on end. Sometimes it's nice to pick up an alternative instrument, and hey presto, I think this is the one, and it's certainly very reasonably priced. This one, actually, on one of my gigs, I took this one out and the whole top started to collapse. It started to cave in, and I think that's basically because it's a cheap instrument. So what I did was I put a piece of wood in there, like a violin sound bar. You know how in a violin you've got a thing called a sound post that kind of separates the top from the bottom. Well, I stuck a piece of wood in this one, just a square piece of wood, just shoved it in, took it in through the F-hole, shoved it in, and hey presto, whoops, oh, it's falling to pieces. It's alright, it's just the end piece there. Well, hey presto though, it's alright, it does go back on properly. This actually, it's been great ever since. So, and I've had this out on dozens of gigs, Kayleys and things like that. So, great fun. So it's a good alternative, and another thing is, if you write musical notation, and I intend to do a video all about the style of musical notation I use, which is something called ABC, and it's dead simple, and it's dead easy for anyone to understand. But if you do any musical notation, and say you're writing a tune late at night, if you use the mandolin, it's very quiet. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. Well, I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. Oh dear, I'm sorry about that. I got a bit carried away. Anyway, there we go. Just a bit of fun. And these videos are quite fun for me to make. So, you know, just let me know if you're enjoying them, and I can chat away ad infinitum. But there's lots of interesting things like that. So I hope that's made you think about another instrument perhaps. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye for now.